Hey everyone, welcome to episode 358, Anxiety in Kids. Welcome to the Harmony in the Home podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hutchison. I'm a counselor, a life coach, and most importantly, an imperfect mom doing this work right along with you. And my goal on our podcast is to go from chaos to calm, feel less frazzled, and have more fun within your four walls to have more harmony in your home. Oh, this is a big topic. We all know and love or don't love this topic because we all have it as adults and on the continuum, of course, and our kids do as well. So we're going to talk today about what to do when your kids are struggling and what to do when you're struggling. Because I think a lot of times we're so focused on helping the kids, but we're not focused on helping ourselves. Before we talk about that, I want to talk to you about, we've had quite the weekend. Ready for this? Dun, dun, dun. We have finished our 940th Saturday with Lily. What? AKA, she has graduated high school. I cannot believe we are here. Like, there's just no way to comprehend. And I feel like that old lady in the grocery store. Well, actually, I am the old lady in the grocery store. When they say, oh, it goes by so fast. Like, I literally want to go up to people with toddlers and be like, it goes by so fast. But I hesitate because I know when I was in that toddler mayhem, I literally could not see the forest through the trees. I was like, this is, you know how they say the years are long, but the days are long, but the years are short. Yeah, this is where I'm at. So I hope this podcast has given you perspectives of, yes, it's fast. Yes, it's quick. And it's hard freaking work, but it's so worth it because it's not a job you're going to have forever. Not a job you're having, obviously you're going to be a parent forever, but not a job where you're like in the thick of it that will not last forever. Because when you're in the thick of it, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's impossible. And there's also a lot of joy in it as well. Like the cute little things they say, the pictures they draw, their funny statements. And honestly, it's a lot more fun to do that busy life than just to sit around and be bored and stare at the walls. So obviously everybody's looking for the Goldilocks balance, but I will say it does go by very fast. And in 1 month, truly, literally moving out of our house to go to college. Like what? That part, I can't even talk about that part. I might have to like pause the podcast during that time because I might need a season of mourning because I'm going to need the help. I don't know how I'm going to be able to help you while I am missing her and missing. I think what gets me the most emotional is like the band breaking up. The four of us are now the three of us. And obviously she's still part of us and all that. But the day to day and go out to dinner and playing pickleball, like how are we going to play pickleball as a family of three? Like how is that going to happen? I mean, I'm pretty good at pickleball, but I can't take on I can't be the singles person while they're playing doubles. So everything was amazing. And I just can't believe what a whirlwind it's been. Senior year will literally take all of your emotions, crumple them up in a ball, and just throw them all over town. Just like boom, 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 like a racquetball in a small itty bitty racquetball court. That's what it feels like. So anyway, talking about anxiety, both of my kids had struggled and I had struggled in this area. And it was so funny because Lily's birthday, I teach my kids I don't teach them. I tell them that I do it and then they do it every once in a while. But I like to write letters to my future self, not letters like Dear Diary. I'm like, if I'm writing, like, okay, like, let's say I booked my hotel for a year from now, so the half marathon I'm going to be running in. And I forwarded the receipt for that hotel. So when it gets February, I can be like, oh yeah, I already got a hotel for this. You know, I can't find the confirmation number, you know the drill. So I forward stuff to myself, my future self. So in that email, I'll say like, hey, how is this going? How is Lily liking up to you? How is, I know you're really worried about XYZ. Did XYZ work itself out? You were arguing with your son about this. You're arguing with your husband about this. You were bickering with your daughter about this. How's it working? Is it still an issue? That kind of thing. Like things that were really heavy. I kind of just say like, these are things that I'm stressed out. These are things that are going awesome. How's it going? And it's funny because when that email comes, it's like, oh my gosh, that was so big in my world and now it's nothing. Or that was so big in my world and now it's bigger. Or that was so big in my world and it's a non-issue. Or like, I love the way that resolved itself. Or I don't really like the way that resolved itself. You just have that perspective of like time, So she wrote a letter. So in her birthday, her 18th birthday was on April 4th. And I was looking in the calendar because Grady said, you put Lily's birthday on the calendar, but not mine. What's up with that? And I was like, no, I just shared it to the I shared hers with family calendar, but I didn't share mine with yours to the family calendar. But it's definitely on mine. I handed him my phone and I said, I'm not even going to touch anything. You go look on October 10th. And it was there. And he's like, well, you don't put it on the family calendar. I'm like, all right. You know how it's like the little button on Apple. So then Lily's like, well, what about my birthday? Is mine on there? And I'm like, you guys are 15 and 18. Like, you don't need to be worried about like, if you're the favorite or not the favorite. Like, you know, you don't have to worry about like fairness. Like it was like they were arguing over who's going to push the button on the elevator. That's what it felt like. I said, you guys don't need to argue whoever pushes the button on the elevator. And I was referencing the fact that like, it's not that deep. And so, she checks her birthday and it's on there. And she had, for somehow our cloud, you know how the cloud is so weird? The cloud had picked up something she had written in her letter kind of to herself. And there's a point to all this, I promise. And the letter it wasn't a letter. It was just notes. It's kind of like bullet points. It's like, these are things that are stressing me out. These are things that are bringing me joy. How's it going? Am I still enjoying those things? Are those things still stressing me out? And so she wrote, we don't know what date she put it in, but we think it's like 3rd grade. And she said, dear future self. I'm not kidding. I could probably find it. I don't want to read personal stuff, but it was pretty much, it wasn't that personal, but my kids don't like their business out there, which I don't blame them, but she wouldn't mind me sharing like the overview. She said, dear future self, how is, and she asked about a few friends. And then she said, how is my worrying? She said, it's getting a lot better because of whittle and till. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then Grady's like, are those the robots? Are those the robots? So anyway, when my kids were in elementary school, they had a really hard time. Just like, I would say the worrying was about like for school or like friend, like one of them was about friend stuff. And then another one was about school stuff. Like, did I sign that paper? And so both my kids did a program called gozen.com. And I can't like, and the main characters are whittle and till. All that to say, it helped them so much. And this program, I'm not even like, I just looked it up to make sure it's still around because it was done so long ago. But it really, really, it says when kids face challenges, anxiety, ADHD, anger, bullying, everyone feels it. Turns stress and anxiety into emotional regulation that serve kids for life. And I'm telling you, 10 years later, it was in her, and both kids were like, oh, those are the robots. Oh my God, those robots helped me so much. Now, do they still have robots? I have no idea. It's a great program, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. It was just a segue about that we found this in her, like in the family calendar. So I'm going to let you listen to something about dealing with anxiety and OCD. And OCD, that I think that's obviously a medical diagnosis, but sometimes you can just use the word OCD when you have the recurring circular thinking, or you are constantly worried about something and you just can't get your brain to stop the spinning, so to speak. So I'm going to let you listen to something, because obviously OCD is a spectrum, and I'm not labeling anybody OCD or not OCD, but it's all on a spectrum. And so sometimes we can have signs of that circular thinking. And I think circular thinking is a softer way of saying those intrusive thoughts. And I think we all have them. It's just to what degree. So this really helped me, and it helped my kids, and it helped anybody that's listened to it. And it went semi-viral. I mean, what's viral anymore? You don't really, it's hard to know. So this was put on by, it did go viral. Okay. So this was David Jones Mental. So I'm better at reading the name than last week. And it says, I help people beat OCD and anxiety when therapy and ERP don't work. And it says, Christ is King. So this one went viral. His other ones are very, very popular. And you are going to love this one because it really helped me.
The biggest mistake people make with OCD and anxiety is they try to get rid of the awful thoughts and feelings, which makes sense because they're awful. But the more that you try to get rid of them, the more it tells your brain that they're a danger. And your brain, when it thinks something is a danger, it makes you think about it and feel awful towards it, so you can make sure you protect yourself. That's just going to make things worse. ERP says you have to just accept the thoughts and feelings and just let them happen. That's actually not true either, because that can feel really terrifying and can make it feel like a danger. So instead, the thing that helped me beat 14 years of OCD and anxiety was when the awful thoughts and feelings get triggered, I would actually change the meaning of them, because we don't actually experience the thoughts and feelings themselves. We experience the meaning that we give them. That's why we suffer, because when we have the thought, we go, oh, this means this terrible thing's true, or oh, that means I'm going to be stuck like this forever. If you can on purpose change the meaning of them so that it becomes something that's either nothing to you, like you don't care if it's there or not, or change the meaning of it so it becomes something that actually makes your life better, then you can get to the point where it has no effect on you and the thought and feeling gets triggered and you're like, sick, like who cares? Your brain stops viewing it as a danger and it will automatically stop triggering it. One example of this, once I learned all the OCD and anxiety is just lies, like it's lies your brain's memorized. Whenever I would have the anxious thought and feeling, when I felt that anxiety, instead of going, oh, because I'm feeling anxious, that means this fear is true, Instead, I started viewing anxiety as a lie detector. Oh, if I'm worrying about this thing and I start feeling anxiety, then I'd be like, oh, that's my brain warning me that I was about to believe a lie. I was believing a lie. That's why my brain said, oh, well, let's feel bad about that so that you don't believe that lie. And instead, you can remember to believe the truth. So I have the thought, oh no, what if all these people are judging me? And I start feeling anxious and I'd be like, oh, thank you, brain. I was believing that same lie again. Thanks for warning me with the anxiety. So now I can remember that lots of people love me. And that way, it's like, brain, go ahead and create anxiety all day. Because it's a hack. It's like, wow, yeah, my brain tells me whenever I'm believing a lie.
I mean, how good is that? Treating it like a lie detector. And a lot of things I like to do, like if I have that thought of like, they're thinking bad things about me, I like to lean into it a little bit about like, yeah, maybe some of those are true. Like they might think I'm loud. Well, yeah, I kind of am. They might think I'm selfish. Okay, sometimes I am selfish. They might think that I'm lazy because I don't do XYZ, because I didn't sign up for the bake-off. Yeah, that might be true. I am being lazy because I don't want to do it. So you kind of like lean into it. And it's like, okay, it's okay if someone thinks I'm lazy, selfish. And what was the other one? I don't even remember. Oh, they think I'm too loud, lazy, loud, and selfish, because all those things, they don't make all of me, but they make part of me. Like sometimes I'm lazy, sometimes I'm selfish, sometimes I'm loud, and sometimes I'm not loud, and sometimes I'm not selfish, and sometimes I'm not lazy. So I try to be more unlazy than I am lazy, and I try to be more unselfish than I am selfish, and I try to be more demure than I am loud. Did I admit them all? Loud, selfish, lazy. So do you see that? It doesn't sting so much as like, yeah, it's probably part of it. Part of it's true. It doesn't mean my whole persona is lazy and selfish because I didn't sign up for the bake sale. Because a lot of times we end up fighting in the car with ourselves. Like, well, who does she think she is making me sign up for that bake sale? Oh, it's okay that they want us to sign up for the bake sale. And sometimes we'll do the bake sale and sometimes we won't. And then guess what's going to happen? I promise on the stack of Bibles, you are going to host a bake sale and you're going to want other people to bake for you. And some people are going to say yes and some people are going to say no. And on both sides of the party, you're going to be okay. You're going to forget snack one time like I did. You're going to forget this picture date. And other days you're going to remember. And other days you're going to remember it's snack day. So then when your kids forget it's snack day and they tell you the night before, or your kids forget the science fair project, or the kids forget their shoes and they get all the way to the fields and they thought they were in the bag and they're not in the bag. Oh, that happened to me last week. It just happened to me at work and I was supposed to turn in something and I didn't. So we can normalize it and it doesn't have so much worthiness attached to it, if that makes sense. And I love what he was talking about as lie detector. It's like, oh, I like that you're presenting that to me. Now I'm going to put it for my own filter and we're going to process that. And then I think when you put it through the lie detector, it doesn't have as much bang for your buck. You just make a part of it true. Even if just 1% true. Like that person said that thing about me. Oh, that she's gaining weight or she's lost weight or she's too tall or she's too skinny or she's too fat or she's too blonde or fake this or fake that. Okay, maybe part of it's true. And it's okay for people to be wrong about you as well. So it kind of like takes the sting away, so to speak. And the porcupine doesn't have as much power in their quills. So try this. And then when you learn it, you can teach it to your kids in smaller, more age appropriate ways. And guess what happens all along? You'll have more harmony in the home. I love you guys and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was, what was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening. I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.